So we're back at the Killarney Poker Festival. It's our final day of the festival. I'm being joined by the legend himself, Mr. Andy Black. Andy, how are you?
I'm grand. It's very good. This shows the Irish Poker Tour. You know what shows the Irish Poker Tour is getting bigger? We're having the dinner break in European style at 4:30.
Nice, nice. What do we have here? Are we something nice?
Well, yes. Look at that. I stole it all from the buffet.
Nice.
Yeah, a bit of, I managed to remember to bring my little lunchbox, and then you sort of, the food. Well, there isn't any really healthy food here, so this is, it's good. I feel if I eat too heavily, I start falling asleep or make more stupid mistakes than I normally do.
Now, the last time we spoke, you said, I wanted to win the Irish Open. I wanted to win the World Series. I'm going to have to do it the other way around. You had a deep run in the Irish Open. You were a whisker away from winning a World Series of poker bracelet. I mean, how's that summer been for you? Are you still coming down off all of that? Because for you to speak that beforehand and then go out and it's right there almost happening, where you were so close.
I mean, it's funny. I was very unlucky in America to not win. I mean, basically, I had ace-king against king-jack. If I win it, I have a 48 million to 8 million lead heads up. So it's the closest someone from Ireland has come to winning the bracelet in maybe 15 years. The Irish Open, I played badly at the end. I was pretty disappointed. But I was still 3-1 favourite with one card to go when there was 5 left to kind of like have the chip leads. And then I would have fancied myself. But I don't know. I'm still struggling with playing well a lot of the time, I mean, so I'm just looking at that. I've been trying multiple sort of methods to sort it, but none of them worked yet. So I still keep doing really, really stupid things. But I'll get there, I feel like I'll get there. But I'm beginning to suspect that getting there would mean I'll probably have to, because I kind of tilt, I do mad things. But if I did that, I'd have to show a level of discipline in the rest of my life. So I'd have to become some kind of super athlete at 58. I'd have to always eat well. I'd have to be very, very careful with all my preparation. I'd have to do a bit more study. Although this year now I've caught up a lot on game theory. So I did a lot of that this year. So I feel like I'm happy with what I've learned, to date. So if I manage to, I think if I push myself and manage to prepare really well, then I have a good chance of having a good year.
Now, I heard you saying on the chip race, it actually got an awful lot of traction, that episode where we were talking GTO versus White Magic. And I know you'd said to me beforehand that there was this gap occurring where you've got GTO and maybe not enough work done on personal self. Do you feel like the conversation is being more brought out to people now since that episode? Because a lot more people, I think, are talking about personal stuff as well as the GTO technical stuff. Do you feel it's closing, or you're at least raising awareness?
Well, what's fascinating is, so that happened a good few months ago. And then in Vegas, I actually spent quite a bit of time with Dara. And we, he learned some stuff, I learned some stuff, and then I did another interview for the chip race there recently. And my overall sense, funnily enough, and Dara said something which was fascinating, which I wasn't sure whether I agreed with it at the time, a few months ago. Well, he first said it to me about a year and a half ago, but he said it a few times since, that the students who've done the best that he've dealt with have learned technical stuff first, and then some of the top few people in the world learn some of the other stuff. So they have a strong foundational basis. And initially the discussion was, is that right? Or is it wrong? And now I'm beginning to think he's right about that the best way is if you've got your fundamentals right. And then that opens the door for the other stuff to have a bigger impact. As one drills down further into, when guys are telling me about the solvers and stuff like that, and what happens is, a lot of it goes down to you know, you're 52% or 53%. So arguably there becomes a value in all of this other stuff, you know, hundreds of other things, which might make a difference in terms of having a bigger effect on your game. So it's kind of like my own view is altering as well, or it's clarifying. So it's like I agree with him that there should actually be. You need to have sound fundamentals, probably first of all, and you know, have a basis of understanding. But then the other stuff really comes into play. So I'm even more convinced.
Yeah.
But I see it slightly differently. And funnily enough, you know, we had these conversations back and forward where he was basically, I would say to him, well, so anytime you've had a read, and this could be something I could say to anyone. Yeah. Anytime you've had a read or thought you were behind, or etc., or thought you were ahead, thought you were behind. Yeah. How often has that been right? And most people will say either most of the time, nearly all the time. There are exceptions. And I think what's interesting, and what I'd add on to that, is whenever I speak more to people, well, what is that? What is that? What is that what's the experience they're having? You know, one, it's fascinating that this is nearly always right. It's 80, 90% often for people. So isn't 80, 90% better than 53%? Yeah. So then the next question, and this is very interesting. So it's all very good, well and good saying that. So what illustrates? Well, when you're feeling 80, 90% sure, but there's not necessarily a mathematical reason for it. Yeah. Well, what's actually happening? Well, what's actually happening is people are having a physical stroke emotional experience of some sort or other. Yeah, so it might just be, you know, when you feel good about something, you physically, your shape is different, your emotions are different. So when you talk further to people and ask them why, they're not used to being asked that question, right? Yeah. And they're not used to thinking of it like that, because we're here often. But what happens is if you manage to probe a bit further and the person is open, they actually find some kind of evidence, which is tangible. It's either physical or emotional or both. And guess what? Usually there's a few bits of evidence. It's not just one. So it's a matter of becoming familiar with what's actually happening. Yeah. And that process, if people are open to it, is one which can make a huge difference to their game. But we're so busy, the mind is so quick, you have so much to think about. It's almost, and people haven't trained in it, that they just don't bother. But they know. They often know, you know, and you'll hear it any turn you go out. There'll be guys going, "Yeah, I knew I was behind." Yeah. But the conversation doesn't go any further than that. I mean, it would be obvious to say, "Well, how did you know?" And he'll go, "Well, he was raising a lot," and you can almost see them uncomfortable or comfortable. It's like there was evidence there. Yeah. So the next, you know, once you get into this, look for evidence. It's there. Maybe you're breathing more shallowly. Maybe you're a bit tense somewhere. You know, maybe you feel a sense of ease, which manifests physically. You know, maybe your breathing is different. Maybe, you know, you feel more solid, you know. Maybe you've picked up some tell, and you're not really a tell picker-upper, but you've picked up that someone is acting a bit different. But you can't quite put your finger on it, but it feels different. So this is a huge sort of a huge area, and
if I could maybe ask you about, I suppose in particular this weekend, are you currently in the main?
I'm not playing well yet.
Not playing well yet. Okay. Yeah. Well, and have you looked and gone, I wonder why that is?
Yeah. Well, it's the same problem I think most people have, but they do it in different ways. So, what we do, right, so I'll tell you exactly what I've been doing wrong today, is I haven't waited to get a full sense of what's going on. And I've rushed a couple of decisions. So I've just gone with a thought as opposed to waiting. And that's what it essentially comes down to. So another way of looking at all of this is we all have different ways of either rushing past or overemphasizing certain pieces of information rather than allowing, having the stillness to allow the full picture to emerge. Yeah? Whatever that is, whatever our level of ability, whatever our whatever way of playing, I have never fucking met someone yet that there wasn't more that they were aware of that they sort of weren't aware that they were aware of. Yeah. So they were sort of, and if you think about it in a tournament, a lot of this will come down to if I don't fucking get this shit sorted. Yeah. Sometimes, assuming you hit some cards, playing well, the luck doesn't go against you, the tournament will come down to 1 or 2 decisions. So it's a big fucking deal, yeah? If there's some kind of obvious sort of sense, this is a good idea, this is a bad idea, and you don't take advantage of that, even if you're not that receptive to that kind of stuff, it's a big difference. Because the beauty about all these good and bad feelings, particularly if they're at the end of the hand, or if it's like, I'm going to call at the end, or I'm going to raise and I think re-raise and I think everyone's going to fold. They're 100% if you get them right.
Yeah.
It's either at the end, the hand's over. Yeah. You raise and re-raise, or 4-bet or 5-bet, whatever it is, or you call somebody on the river. It's 100% if you're right. Yeah.
You're either right or you're not.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, this is a big fucking deal. This is a big fucking deal. We're not, and if there are any ways, which I've never found someone yet, unless they're very, very on, I'm probably on the autistic spectrum a bit, but let's say very on a particular type of the autistic sort of spectrum. Barring that, everybody else I've ever met, has a kind of things that they are missing. And that's it. I'm going to go and finish my dinner break and see if I can remind myself to do this shit.
I think people will get a lot out of this, Andy. I really do. Not out of your lunchbox, but out of this conversation. And I actually think you and Darragh Killarney have a lot in common. I think Darragh said that on his podcast a few weeks ago. He goes, me and Andy have a lot more in common than maybe I initially thought.
We have a lot in common. No, we do. No. Both of us are very passionate about poker. Never let that be lost. Passion and wanting are the doorways to either being better mathematically or better at the stuff I'm more interested in. Yeah? Because when you're passionate about something, you see more, you feel more. Yeah? So even though we're very different characters, we have that in common, So there is a, we'll never turn down a conversation, which looks like it might be okay about something to do with poker. On that note,
Andy Black, thank you very much for joining us, sir. Thank you.